Welcome to the Year 10 Health and Physical Education class. In today's class, the students are going to be understanding movement. Derived from the Australian curriculum, Year 10 students should be able to use ICT to design, implement and monitor a personal fitness plan which includes a time frame, goals and a variety of specific activities that meet the needs of different people. Investigate target training heart rate zones from a range of different people and how these zones relate to health, well-being and fitness. Year 10 students should also be able to justify the selection of physical activities included in a personalised plan linked to the components of health and skill-related fitness they wish to improve on or maintain. Today's lesson, I really want the students to focus in on 1 and 2. For learning outcome number 1, I really want the students to focus in on a written activity. And in this activity, students will work in partners to find the targeted heart rate zone for 3 people. They are given the rest heart rate of a 17-year-old, 46-year-old, and a 60-year-old. Each person is assigned to work at 80% intensity. First off, the students must figure out the maximum heart rate and then use the resting heart rate to find the heart rate reserve. Then using the Kavanen formula, figure out each participant's heart rate zone. Using the Polar Heart Rate Training Zone Guide, students are to figure out which zone best suits each participant and further discuss and evaluate the differences between the zones and why that might be the case. Undertaking this activity, students will come in to a lot of numeracy and literacy elements. In terms of numeracy elements within this written activity, students will find the maximum heart rate through the Kavanen formula, and they'll use that formula to figure out the heart rate zone of each participant. Then students must be able to compare their results or their data from their findings from using the formula. These matched the numeracy progressions from the Australian curriculum numeracy continuum, where students solve complex problems by estimating and calculating using efficient written strategies, and they compare, interpret and assess the effectiveness of different data. In terms of the literacy elements within this written activity, students have to evaluate and discuss the differences between the zones, and then they must compose a written response. This matches to the literacy progression from the Australian curriculum literacy continuum, where students have to understand learning area vocabulary, compose learning area written texts, and interpret and analyse learning area topics, similar to the learning outcome of where they investigate target training heart rate zones from a range of different people. For learning outcome number 1, I want the students to participate in a visual mode activity. And in this visual mode activity, students will be given a resource where they're grouped and will be given the opportunity to learn about different components of fitness and how they are measured. Students are to explore 3 sites which will expand their knowledge and expand on the components of fitness. Students are to complete a summary of their reading and then design a quiz from these notes. Students must then work to identify a suitable fitness test for each component and use video recordings such as their webcam or websites like Loom, and will record members of their group performing each fitness test. Students are to then use their notes, quiz and recording to create a guide to fitness to present to the rest of the class. By undertaking this visual mode activity, students will come into a range of literacy and numeracy elements similar to the first written activity. In terms of literacy elements, students will have to read and take notes from the resources, compose a visual text, create an oral presentation, and they must record their group members performing each fitness test. This matches the literacy progressions from the literacy continuum in the Australian curriculum, where they interpret and evaluate information, plan, research, rehearse and deliver presentations on learning area topics, and use subject-specific vocabulary to express abstract concepts and refine vocabulary choices. In terms of the numeracy elements, students should be able to measure and time the fitness tests undertaken for the group recording, and they must analyse the fitness tests and impact on movement. And this matches the numeracy progression from the Australian continuum, where they analyse the impact of effort, space, time, objects and people when composing and performing movement sequences. Each subject has specific vocabulary that is learned in order for a student to gain a deeper understanding of the subject and topic. The vocabulary is grouped in 3 levels, ranging from basic to technical terms. And for this subject, students will have to learn vocabulary such as basic, polysemous, and technical words, which range from zones to fitness testing and physical activity. To teach the subject-specific vocabulary found in the Year 10 Health and Physical Education class, I will use two strategies: vocabulary reinforcement activity like word sorts